I think the videographers will like a shot through if you just
Hold it 1 second.
Anything for you. You good, guys? Good? Okay.
Welcome, everybody. So as I said last night, we're just very excited to have Zay come in and be our first-round pick this year. And as I said last night, it was early in the process that we identified Zay as a guy that we thought would bring a lot of value to this club. His playmaking ability, who he is as a person, his grit, his determination, his background, all of those things kind of factor in. And he's the guy. We're fired up to get him. I think our fan base is going to love him. The community is going to love him. And just welcome Zay Flowers.
Same thing, just to echo, couldn't be more excited on behalf of all the coaches, players, everybody's fired up to have you here. Welcome to Baltimore.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh and EDC, right? That's what he called. I'm going to call you EDC, for giving me this opportunity. I think with Lamar and the guys on the outside, we got something special and we can build here. And we can get back to what Baltimore Ravens was.
Questions?
So you mentioned last night your visit here, you kind of knew or had a good feeling about this place. What was it? Can you elaborate?
The last time I visited here, we barely even talked about football. It was just everybody in the building was genuine. A lot of the places I went to, I had to put on kind of like a front. And when I got here, it was just, everything was just pure, it was just genuine. I was playing basketball, beat a couple people. But I enjoyed that visit.
Everywhere I've read about you compliments your hardworking nature and your drive. Just where can you attribute that? When was that instilled in you?
I got it from my dad. I used to see him get up, go to work at 4 a.m. in the morning. And he did that every day, Monday through Friday. And he'll get up Saturday, wash our clothes at the wash house, cook everybody breakfast, and take us to football games. And then do the same thing Sunday, and then go back to work Monday. So just seeing him do that, it gave me my drive.
You talked about the other weapons on the outside. We saw that you FaceTimed Odell Beckham last night in Kansas City. When did that relationship start? Is he somebody that, how much are you looking forward to playing with him?
So my first time talking to him, because we got the same trainer back in Florida. My receiver coach trained him too. And he used to watch some of my videos and like, we got to get together and work out. And I think a couple weeks ago, I called him and I was like, where you think about going? And then he was like, either the Ravens or the Giants, I think. And I was like, that's crazy because both of those teams I'm predicted to go to, and then we land on the same team. So I could just use them to learn, because it's gonna be my first year. I can learn everything from them and just play with them. It'll be fun.
What did it feel like walking back into the building? You've been here before, but what did it feel like walking back in here as a Raven, and how different is it than the last time you were here?
It felt great walking back in the building because everybody that I seen the first time, it felt like I knew him for a couple years and only knew him for, a day. So just being somewhere I could be comfortable and be myself and still work hard and play football is a perfect spot for me.
Okay, so last night you were watching those viral high school videos of Lamar Jackson when he pointed to the defender and walked into the end zone. How fired up are you to play with him? And did you ever think that he'd be throwing you the football in the National Football League?
Nah, I didn't think so, but they let me fall to him, so there's going to be a lot of plays being made on Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, whatever day we playing on. So just being able to play with him and have all these weapons next to me, it's just going to improve my game.
Zay, there's a lot of pressure that goes with being a first-round pick, but when you look at this roster, you already mentioned Odell, you got Rashad Bateman, another former first-round pick, and Mark Andrews. How exciting is it for you that you can be yourself, but there isn't this expectation that you have to come in and be, quote, the guy day one?
I'm going to have the guys next to me, so I feel like if we all do our part and do what we're capable of, we're going to have a very good team.
You're known for breaking tackles, yards after the catch. How are you still able to do that when obviously you're not one of the bigger guys, but you're still able to do and be physical out there?
I mean, I was never one of the bigger guys, so I always had to find a way to do it, and I'm going to try to continue to find a way to do that.
Zay, who's in the picture on the medallion around your neck?
That's my mom.
Why is that important to have in this moment, do you think?
She started us off playing football, so I felt like I needed her with me last night and have her with me today. It's just a little flower. Got my brothers and sisters in each petal, 14 of us.
How did that big family really kind of sharpen you, sharpen your competitiveness? And like you said, you haven't been the biggest guy, but you have been physical. You play physical. Is that in part because of having that big family?
Yeah, believe it or not, like my brother's tall. Like some of them like 6'2", 6'1". I guess I got the shorter end, but but we was competitive at everything. We would play basketball. The little brothers played the big brothers. Play football, and it'd be the same thing. Wrestle each other. So it was just meant to be that way, and it worked out perfect.
What would you say to your mom, Zay, in this moment, or obviously one of your brothers as well, that was in high school. What would you say to them on this day, if you could?
What would I say to them? Thank you for always being there for me and supporting me through everything and having my back. So I appreciate them for that and being my biggest fans.
What is that dynamic like of one of 14?
It's fun, actually. Like, you never shy. You can't be shy because you're going to always be talking because somebody's always in the house. You're always around somebody. So everybody going to have their own personality, whether it's funny, quiet, or you just running around playing.
You've obviously watched NFL football. You played big-time college football. What do you anticipate the next level to be like and how you will be able to transition to the NFL?
I feel like everybody gonna be smarter, faster, and working hard. So I just got to do that ×2 and continue what I was doing.
Zay, being from South Florida, obviously a lot of talent comes out of there. This team has a lot of talent from South Florida. What do you anticipate that does for the atmosphere of being in this building and playing football with these guys?
Down in South Florida, when you play with like people you know, it just boosts. It just boosts how you want to play. It just make you make more plays. So being able to play with Lamar and other playmakers around me, it's just gonna make me play harder, work harder, and try to make more plays to help the team.
Some of your teammates were highly rated recruits, and you were not that coming out of high school. Does that fill you with some sort of pride seeing them as your peers in the NFL now?
I mean, I did have a chip on my shoulder because of that. I mean, I still have it because I felt like I was the underdog. So I just played with a chip, and I'm gonna continue playing like that.
So you mentioned last night, the connection that you felt with the Ravens at the Shrine game when they were looking at you pretty extensively. How do you think you fit scheme-wise here? And sort of where do you feel you can have the biggest impact?
In my opinion, I feel like I could play outside, inside, special teams, wherever you need me to make a play. If I could touch the ball any type of way to try to make a play, I feel like I would be good. And where there's jet sweeps, shallow crosses, deep balls, punt returns, I feel like I could be used in any way.
Because you played with Kenny McIntosh, you played with Georgia. Did you get a chance to watch much of Todd Monken's offense last year? Did you have any kind of familiarity with what he plays?
Yeah, I know at Georgia it was a lot of running, but I mean, when you got a team like that in college, you're gonna continue running the ball to win national championships. At this level, you got to be able to do both.
Steve Smith has spoken highly of your skills. How aware are you of him, and are you comfortable with any comparisons that people may want to draw between you and somebody of his ability?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with it because he was a smaller guy in the league that was playing bigger than his size, and I'm going to be a smaller guy in the league, and I'm going to have to play bigger than my size.
Zay, who's the toughest corner you've ever faced, and is there a guy you're kind of looked at for a while, watched for a while, that you'd love to match up against?
I don't think any corner gave me a problem in college, but facing, I don't really got. I want to face all of them, honestly.
So you really had 4 full seasons in college football. A lot of guys don't. How much do you think that's going to help you? And did you give any thought, even last year, to come to the NFL?
I gave it a little thought, but I feel like I needed to put more stuff on tape, like competitive catches, blocking, just all the small stuff that I didn't do the year before that I was able to do this year.
How pleased are you with how you guys said straight out early this offseason, we're going to upgrade this wide receiver room? With this latest addition, how pleased are you with how kind of the pieces have come together?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I feel like there was a plan in place, and everybody, coaches, scouts, Eric and all his group, Joe, did a great job scouting all these guys. We had a really good handle on the board. I feel like, you led that, Joe, and did a great job with that, and kind of knew who he liked. Zay was our top-rated receiver. Pretty, I would say, 100% consensus, right, Joe? 100%. Everybody had him as our guy, and for him to be there for us and just kind of fill out that room was a great blessing.
Eric, I know when you scout a lot of these players, when did for you with Zay, when do you remember seeing, maybe was it on tape, things like that? How did that occur?
Yeah, I didn't think last year first, I thought he was explosive last year. We talked about him last year, and our scouts do a great job of looking at potential juniors that might enter the draft. It's not like years ago when we used to start that process like after the combine. We start that process in the fall. So we watched Zay at length 2 years ago. Excited about him then. I think, one of the things this year, I remember I liked Zay on tape, and David Blackburn, our college director, was going out to the East-West game, and, Zay was there for one practice, just one practice. He went out and he put on a show, and that was it. And I asked David, because David was there, and I said, how'd he look? David said, fast. Best guy there. And that was basically it. That was a scouting report. And, that means a lot when you send out one of your best scouts and he comes back with that type of assessment. And, as I said last night, we had a bunch of guys watch Zay and the other receivers, and it was clear cut. It was a knockout victory this week. Everybody thought that Zay would bring the most to the table for us this year.
Did your connections to Massachusetts and the Boston area give you any insight that otherwise would not have had about Zay?
Not too much. I've been down here now for 28 years. I don't have as many contacts up there now as I used to. I still have an affinity for the state, the Commonwealth, but I'm a Baltimore guy now.
I'm curious how nervous you were getting as you were getting closer to your pick, and you knew the Seahawks were interested in possibly taking a wide receiver. You knew the Chargers could take a wide receiver. Were you getting nervous that they could take Zay?
You always get nervous, but I've learned that, there's different levels of nervousness. And the last 2 years have shown to me that there's always nervousness times 2, times 3. And so, the draft is the draft. We plan and we practice. And, I've learned from the all great, powerful Oz to always be prepared on draft day. And so, you just get ready for every possible scenario that can happen. And, of course, the best we got. Some years you don't. But you just move on. You have to have a plan. It goes quick, and you did get. It was a little bit nerve-wracking because things were falling very nicely for most of the round, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 you start to see that run. And whenever there's a run in the draft, it's an emotional thing that other teams start to not panic, but they start to think, okay, this is our chance if you want to fill that position. And so you always worry about. I really wasn't so much worried about necessarily us not getting Zay where we were, except that I was worried about teams behind us coming up over us to get Zay. I was a little bit anxious about that. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and we lucked out.
John, so that's Eric's assessment of how he handled things. How do you, from an outsider view, how do you think he handled things?
Oh yeah, poise. He's stone cold in there, man. He's got ice water in his veins. And I just saw David Blackburn sitting back there with his whole crew. He was just giving me the eye the whole night back there, like, we're going to get our guy. We're going to get our guy. Don't worry. So you knew all along, David. What'd you know?
I know, Coach.
Yeah, it was meant to be, man.
How I am in the draft is different than how I am on game day. different animal.
Yeah, we all hope so.
Eric, is that better or worse?
Well, for the draft, it's better.
Slightly
It's
calmer at the
better.
draft.
Oh, God, we would have the worst drafters of all time if I was as distracted and emotional as I am during games.
John, when you talked to Tom Munkin and joining your staff, was this a scenario you possibly played out for him, or is this even better than he had hoped?
Oh, man, Jerry, I mean, we weren't really talking about exactly which receiver we were going to take. We were kind of talking about scheme, but I think once you have a feel for the scheme, then you start putting the players into the scheme. Zay was just jumped to the front of the class. It's going to be a great fit. Talking to our players, I mean, our players are excited already about the 2 weeks where we've had a chance to install the scheme so far. And I know Lamar's going to be excited when he gets here, and then when he sees this guy, and Odell walks in the room, you already got Nelson here, and James is already working, and Dev's already working. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Did you ask Lamar at all about the receivers in this draft class? Did he have I don't want to say a say, but did you get input from him about who he would like to have?
We talked back in January. Yeah, I went down to visit with Lamar back in January, and we talked about the college receivers. And one thing about Lamar, if you're from South Florida, he's going to know you.
He knows who you are.
And he gave me a list. He gave me a full breakdown of every receiver in the draft from South Florida. And, he's got strong opinions on all these guys, too, He's very loyal to the players from that part of the country. And so he had, a lot of opinions on Zay, and he was very, very excited that we got him last night.
John, a lot of receivers on this roster in that 5'10" to the 6'1" range. Not like a true X-possession type guy. I guess what are kind of the advantages to having maybe some of that sameness in the receiver room, and maybe why you're not concerned about being a possession guy?
Yeah, I think we had that conversation for sure. It's a really good point, and we just decided that we were going to go with the guy that we thought, was the best guy for us. And we just decided not to go position specific. The idea that we're going to move guys around. We have every guy's versatile. Every guy can play out there at X, to your point. Every guy can play Z. And the way the offenses are getting to be built now, it's not this side and that side. It's not a set guy and a motion guy anymore. I mean, guys are on the ball, guys are off the ball. He goes in motion, he runs a jet sweep, he's on the ball, he gets into the slot, somebody's coming back the other way. That's just the way the offenses are evolving now. It's fun. There's a lot more moving parts to it. So, we're probably moving away from that a little bit. Not that we, wouldn't have loved, and we don't like, we like every kind of guy, but you get the best guy for you at this time, and you make the call, and this is the guy. So he's going to be a great fit with those other guys, and I think it's going to be tough to defend. You got to make a lot of choices out there, along with the running backs and tight ends, and the quarterback, and a strong offensive line. I'm pretty fired up about it.
Hey, Zay, how would you describe, I guess, Lamar's sort of legend in South Florida and what he means to young guys who grow up playing football there as you now look up to him?
I mean, down there, Lamar a legend. Like, everybody a Lamar fan. You're gonna see people wearing his jersey no matter where you go. Everybody gonna talk about him. And I hear him though. South Florida got the best athletes. Why not get a receiver from down there?
Just ask anybody from South Florida. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.